Kaiju here with Crossstar, Oliver, and Historical. Introduce yourselves.
I've already. You probably already know me. It's me, historical man, and then that's about it. I'm gonna bounce this out to Cross.
Hi, I am the Alpha and the Omega. I am Crossstar.
I am the
Hi,
shadow of the
I'm
sun.
Oliver, and I'm man.
A
And
man.
I'm man. A man.
No, I'm not a man. I'm just man.
I am man.
Uh, early man. Cave paintings, cavemen. Ah, that's a perfect segue into the topic of today.
that was smooth.
It only
That
took it
was
only took
Smooth,
me
I think, is giving it too much credit, but it was good.
smooth like peanut butter with the chunks in it. But yeah, today's topic is about artists and their artwork. So
Yeah.
I'm just going to go on to Oliver since he helped me segue into this.
Uh-huh.
Take it away,
You're
buddy.
an artist.
Yeah, you're an artist. What's it like? What's it like to draw?
Um, pain.
Just
Pain.
just pain.
90% of the time. Yep. Yeah, pain. Pain.
Um,
I only do it because it's the only thing I do good at.
why?
I have no future in my life other than art because it's the only thing I can actually do.
Oh, don't say that. That's just
This
self-deprecating.
got really sad really quickly.
I didn't want this to be a depresso podcast, but don't say that. That's self-deprecating. And why do you say pain?
Yeah, well,
Like,
in all seriousness,
yeah, why?
it's a lot of things really doing art. It can be both great and painful at the same time.
Just like trying to make stuff work, I assume.
Yes.
I understand.
Just like thinking of drawing art, yeah, you get pumped, but doing actual art, it's just pain.
I mean, honestly,
Either that or it's just me.
no. I completely understand because I feel somewhat the same way, and it makes me wonder how certain artists do it. Like, obviously, I have the examples on screen right now
Oh
from
yeah,
like RJ Palmer and
how
Tattling.
they do.
Yeah, like how
Yeah,
they can actually get through it, like effectively. I
yeah.
mean,
I mean, they have the all artists go through like a certain phase, like that like I'm not good enough phase, just like where everything you do is just shit or something. To be a good artist, you just like go past that and just like actually learn. That's what I've been trying to do. I've been trying to work on my people because that's what I've been really lacking. That and background and perspective and pretty much shit that people just like usually have big struggles with. Any faces, anatomy, shit like that.
ironically, that's
Even like sometimes
yeah,
monsters,
yeah.
even though like monsters is something that I'm pretty used to doing.
Well, it kind of depends on the monster, I would think, but I'm completely the same way.
Yeah,
I'm having
definitely.
trouble
I
with
mean, there's like
backgrounds
there's
and all
like
that.
simple shit like Gorosaurus, and then there's fucking Legion.
Oh.
Legion is no. I am. I
That
don't want to draw Legion.
that kind of reminds me of like a base concept when it comes to like designing characters is to try and make it so they can just be a silhouette or as simplified as possible, and you can still know who they are. You know,
Yeah,
and I can think of a
I feel
couple of
like that's one
examples.
thing when it comes to like character design, and that is a distinct silhouette.
Yeah,
The distinct silhouette can be like big for like characters because they got to be recognizable.
exactly,
Like among the
exactly.
sea of other characters, there needs to be like something that distinguishes them from another.
Hmm. Although
Like
that,
overall, I feel like that's like something that people struggle, that some people may struggle a lot with, because when it comes to like trying to make something new, it's kind of hard when we're in a day and age where a lot of shit has been done over and over again, to the point of redundancy.
well,
Like I get that. I have trouble with that too. Like trying to come up with a concept that is like it doesn't have to be completely original, but like the concept of something that sticks out, that makes it unique from the rest of said like normal stuff.
if it's something that stands out to you, or if it's something that accentuates your style or your personality and all that, I think that kind of dodges the issue in some way, at least to me, because
Yeah.
you know, for a long time, even paintings have been around for how long? But there's still like distinct artists that always show up no matter what age it
Yeah.
seems,
Yeah.
because usually they
Yeah.
just
When it
try
comes to
and
a style,
accentuate
is
that.
like it's a yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when it comes to like style and like an actual character, yeah, that's those are like two kind of different things. Like, but both together they can like they are like they can like distinguish something in their own ways. Yeah.
Well, that does kind of remind me of Cross. Is there any like painter or artist in particular that sticks out in your mind? Because when I mentioned certain artists seem to stick out in history, period, all that. I was wondering if you had anyone in mind.
I mean, on a personal level, I very much enjoy the art of Trevor Henderson.
Oh, Spooks McGee.
Yeah, the guy that blends real life photos with uh just sort of, I guess, like just painting them onto them to create these kind of like very surreal pieces of art. Mostly because at least a lot of his earlier work, for some of it, uh, it always gave to me a feeling where it is sort of this abstract and it's this sort of scary thing, but it isn't necessarily malicious. It becomes more of a facet of the world around you as opposed to something distinctly horrible.
It
That,
has more to do with the unknown.
yes, and that honestly as well leads me to a Polish painter that you may know of,
I think
uh,
I do. I think I
Zid-
do.
Zdzisław Beksinski.
The nightmare artist, right?
Yes, the
As he's
nightmare
known.
artist who seemingly, as he called, drew images of hell. And I very much enjoy his work because although it is clearly quite,
Unsettling.
terrifying,
Yeah, yeah.
unsettling, there is an element and a nature to its sort of very surreal art style uh, that makes it seem as opposed to other depictions of hell where you get traditionally where it's all entirely designed as a place of torture, fire, brimstone, people with sticks poking at you all the time, all that. Whereas with this, hell seems more like an actual place, um a physical space that makes up an area with its own biology, its own culture, its own ecosystem of social and cultural and just biological makeup. Although it is this terrifying surreal aspect, there is something that about it speaks to me as something that is very calming.
That actually
Mm.
makes me think of like this one phrase that I had heard before when it comes to like describing hell, and it is simply the absence of God, which almost comes through the artwork because it's like you said, it's not torturous or anything. It just seems unsettling and almost alien in some way, which kind of gives like that phrase some picture. You know what I'm saying? At least I hope
Hmm.
I hope that makes sense. Because
Mm. I know.
sometimes it almost seems like devoid of logic in some ways, but it all seems to connect and it doesn't quite feel out of place when you start looking at the other pieces that he's made before. Like it all
Yeah, when you start
meshes.
looking at the other pieces, you feel as if you could walk from one area of this to the next.
Hmm.
Like there's nothing incoherent about the next piece of painting. Whereas traditionally within surrealism, each art is kind of contained. It's not like you feel like you can walk from, the melting clock onto another piece of his art, or from MC Escher's stairs onto another MC Escher painting, because they're all very self-contained things. Whereas this, it all feels like snapshots of a different kind of reality.
Yeah, like they're all technically in the same place, just disconnected from each other.
Yeah, disconnected in space as opposed to disconnected in physical space as opposed to disconnected in sort of an
Reality.
ideological space.
Yeah, yeah. Which I love it when artists kind of do that, or at least they give like the same feeling in all of their artwork. Because I know there's some merit to making everything feel distinct, But I like it when you look at a painting or you look at a piece and you can immediately know that it belongs to something, you know?
Mhm.
That's just like a personal thing that I enjoy. I don't know how any of you guys feel about it, but that's just me.
I'd say yeah. I like that though.
I was going to say who my favorite artist was.
Oh,
Please go ahead.
Go ahead.
It was a poll, actually, as well.
Polish.
Jakub Razolski, I think is. I can't pronounce Polish names.
Can you spell it? I might look it up.
Jakub? Okay, it's Jakub
Oh, I think
special.
yeah, I think I see
Yeah,
it. Rozalski.
Rozalski.
Oh, oh, okay, that's actually quite
He
neat. It's like
is
medieval. Oh,
not medieval. No, look more closely.
oh,
He does more than
oh.
that.
See a couple mechs. That's
He
cool.
he's the inspiration behind the game Iron Harvest, and he was the illustrator for the board game Scythe. Now, what I really like about him is, well, besides the fact that he draws, he's just a really good artist. Period.
Yeah, yeah. Aside from the talent.
Is that aside from the talent, yeah, is that he combines more he combines just what is the modern what we think of as today with like more sci-fi. Well, it is sci diesel punk elements. Like for example, if you look at his art, a lot of it's just peasants farming in the fields, while there is something big in the background doing something.
Yeah, I'm noticing that with all of the examples that I'm at least looking upon.
And to me, it reminds me a lot about just being just how it is just to be a simple person looking at these just awe-inspiring, gigantic machines of war. Which, if I'm gonna be real, is probably how most people felt during the First World War, seeing, all these new weapons. It kind of brings that feel out, into the
Somewhat
foreplay.
taking the emotion that was in there and illustrating it.
Basically,
Yeah.
and illustrating it.
Okay.
Like, imagine being a poor guy and you see a tank for the first time. Sure, it's fat, it's clunky, it doesn't look anything like a modern tank, but you've never seen one like that before.
Never seen anything like that. It's kind of like seeing an
Yeah,
airplane
well,
for the first time.
Well, what art is this exactly? What's the name of the painting again? Or the painter?
it's
Let me
Jakub
send some
Rzolski.
examples in the chat.
Please do, because I can't spell that name.
It's Polish. No offense to Polish people. Please don't kill me.
No offense to Poland.
No offense to Poland. Please don't kill me, please. I beg you.
Coming for your ass, dude.
They're gonna vibe check me.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I like that. That's very nice.
I'm also noticing this interesting mix with some of his pieces of World War II and medieval, like this odd mixture of the two, which is nice.
I mean, it's Eastern Europe. It's not medieval exactly. It's Eastern European. Because remember, Eastern Europe looked like this up until the Soviet Union grabbed it, kicking and screaming.
Haha.
Yeah, like you could look. Large parts of the Polish countryside look like this, and it's interesting seeing in many of his paintings the contrast between what is old, peasant life, like the life of a simple farmer,
versus what
it's
came.
just a stark versus what came. It's just a stark contrast, and I love
Honestly, yeah.
This art reminds me a lot of as well. Another artist of mine that I enjoy, that you may have also heard of recently because of an Amazon Prime show that came out based on his artwork, The Loop. Simon Stalling. Stalenhag.
Stalinhag. Oh, I thought you said Stalin. I'm like, wait a minute.
No, Stalenhag. Where it is this mix of retro. It's a kind of like a sort of retro futurism, not in the actual sense of retro futurism, the genre in itself, but like breaking it down to its parts. It is a older thing, the retrospective, like in this, it's the mixture of, older war things, such as like this is like what depicting stuff generally around like what the World War II period,
World War One.
World War One period, mixed with this kind of futurism of technology, of mechs, of these kind of more outlandish sort of things.
I mean, they do seem, from what I'm looking at anyway, they seem to convey a very similar feeling.
I mean, it's specifically is inspired, if we're being very specific, by the Polish War of 1920.
Okay.
Being very specific.
Okay.
But World War One.
I like kind of seeing how culture tends to affect artists and, just pieces at the time. Because I guess, like, the most easy, bare bones example you can use, because it's used a lot, is the Renaissance. Because you see just this
Yeah.
odd explosion of high quality artwork around that time, as there was, like, an explosion of, learning and education and all these new scientific facts that were being discovered, and just all this. And you see the same thing in the artwork, because you can see that stuff is kind of being revitalized, stuff is kind of advancing truly again. Not to say that the medieval period was as bad as everybody says, but just saying.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Hmm? Hmm? Gotta find an example. Gotta find like an example. Although back then it was mainly about like religious religious pieces, or portraits, trying to make the person look as good as possible at the time, because especially medieval artwork, the people didn't really look as good in medieval artwork, if you don't mind me saying.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest with that. It's because it was, most art at the time was controlled by the Catholic Church.
I mean, yeah.
Like music at the time as well. Like most music we have from the medieval ages are just religious chants.
Because they considered the implementation of instruments to be impure.
Wait, really?
To the human body. Yeah, the only instruments they really did implement would later be the organ,
Yeah.
because that's it's the instrument of God.
Yeah, that's why a lot of Gregorian chants, if they did introduce an instrument, it would be very, very minimal. Just a couple of strings repeated consistently throughout the whole piece, because the focus on it was supposed to be the human voice, because that is the instrument that God gave to you, essentially.
And it's like that in medieval artwork. It's like the reason why a lot of it looked weird isn't because because at the time many of them considered it to be, well, they wanted to all look like Jesus Christ. Like
I mean,
all the babies wanted
smug.
to look like Jesus Christ.
I mean that, and also it lacked perspective because they hadn't figured out how to do that yet.
I mean, they did in like Roman paintings. So it's just that they wanted to make it far more religious than anything, because Catholics.
And depressing times.
I mean, it wasn't really depressing times as much, but that's a story for another day.
Yeah, another day, another day.
But basically, a lot of older paintings, especially like medieval ones, the reason why they look as they do wasn't because they didn't learn any of that. It's that
It was moderated almost.
the commissioners didn't want that to be implemented, because you can actually see like medieval sketches, like an actual sketch of a person at the time, and it did look it had a lot of depth to it. It's just that
That wasn't what was wanted at the time.
that wasn't what was wanted. It was, and also because they also had to do it on glass a lot of the time.
But once you started seeing people start to exercise their creativity and show off their ideas, that's when you started to see stuff like that.
I mean, it was, well, to go in the history of artists now. Oh boy.
That's why you're here.
Yeah, well, it's also on topic too, right?
Yeah, it is.
What happened is that in the during the beginnings of the Protestant Reformation, a lot of Protestants, especially the Calvinists, were they considered paintings to be what they called icons or iconoclasts. Basically, this painting, you drew a painting of the Christ, it's satanic, and they just destroyed it. And to try and win over support of the people, the Catholic Church ran over to the artists and told them, commission whatever you want. We'll commission you for whatever you can. Just draw this in whatever way you want. We don't care as long as it isn't explicitly anti-Christian
Okay, so
or anti-Catholic.
basically, it was almost a political maneuver isn't really the word that I'm trying to use.
It really was
Well,
because, like,
well,
you have
yeah,
to remember.
I guess so, because they did have a lot of control at the time.
I mean, yeah, but it's also because the quickest way to get an image in people's heads back in the day was to have a literal image of it.
Yeah.
So when you have paintings in cathedrals, people are gonna think,
Hmm.
you could call it propaganda if you will, but they basically try to win over the support of artists by.
Speaking of propaganda, though, if you don't mind, that type of artwork always actually interested me in some way. Most propaganda art, anyway, because it's just kind of interesting seeing like the mindset of the country or the artist that was making it at the time. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's like that with a lot of propaganda. Like, I actually want Oliver's what he thinks about old propaganda posters from like the 40s. I want his opinion on it.
I mean, I've never seen much of them, so
Wait,
I
really?
don't really know. Yeah,
Really?
no, I don't see a lot,
I'll send
if
you
not
one.
ever. Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Like, it depends also what country it is from, but like a lot of them are based. Some of them were very humorous, especially the American ones.
Well, yeah, because it's
Hmm.
funny, and funny makes it more memorable, usually.
And there's also
Haha, big funny.
the most disturbing one was by far the Soviet propaganda posters, Soviet and French ones.
Yeah. Well, I would say that the Nazi propaganda posters were also like, I don't want to say iconic, more like
They were.
infamous.
I mean, I think that the most infamous of all the art styles is one of the ones made by Chairman Mao.
Ah, Mao. Fucking Catman.
Who?
Good old Mao.
He has
Every time you
he
just
has a
did not
lot
think
of
of him.
them actually.
Ah,
Actually,
interesting.
something that I've noticed with a lot of Mao's posters, well, obviously with a lot of dictator posters, they tend to show off themselves more than anything else, but him in particular, there's like it's quite easy to notice like the disconnect because he's at least in one of the examples that I've found, he's almost always separated by the rest of the people in color. Like you see him, color normally. He has his suit on, he has himself on, but everybody else is
I
just
mean,
colored red.
in this one, it's like here's the other thing too. I'll
Mhm.
post another one.
Yes, yeah.
Posting a
See,
few of them.
it almost sets him up more like a heavenly figure, which is
Yeah, that's
something
what
that you've
propaganda's
noticed. Yeah,
supposed to
yeah,
do.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's supposed to, but just something that you can see clearly.
But it's always interesting because while these aren't specific artists in particular, it's always interesting to see just how art evolves in this sort in response to a lot. Because oh god, how should I put it? Of course, you saw like caricatures of people and things in past propaganda posters, but it was like, hold on, I need to do something about it. Like, there was one made during the Second World War of a super propaganda poster. I have to find it again, but it perfectly exemplifies what you meant by like it has different attitudes.
Yeah, like
All of them.
I think the biggest thing that you can take away from most propaganda art is emotion. Like a specific emotion that it's trying to evoke. Like that's the point of propaganda. It's trying to invoke a emotion out of you. be it like pride for most of these Chairman Mao posters, because it's trying to make you prideful of the country that you're in, or perhaps anger, for example. That's something that most propaganda tends to try and evoke. It tries to get you angry about something.
I mean, especially with the Soviet one, I was gonna say it mostly involved just defending, just stop this extremely mad tyrant from slaughtering the people.
Ironic. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, look,
I had to point it out. I'm sorry.
the Soviets, but the Nazis did commit horrible war crimes in the Soviet Union. Look at this one, for example.
All right, I'll take a look at it. Yeah, like clearly that's trying to invoke anger, and it's at least in some way also trying to invoke fear. And I'll post it in the banner, because that's actually a good example.
I mean, yeah, it's literally a hand. It's literally the Soviets block. It's literally just what's supposed to be the Soviet man blocking Nazi from slaughtering a child.
Yeah, I mean, how much blunter do you need to say it?
Yeah, but anyway, moving on from wars.
Well, that actually does make me think about something.
I was gonna transition from moving on to war to
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Moving on from wars to a person who draws.
Well, that was actually somewhat connected to what I was going to say.
What were you gonna say?
Well, propaganda and all of these certain things seem to be encased in like closed mindsets. But as we've reached like the days that we are in now, obviously ideas and mindsets kind of mix together. So you see this, I've at least seen like this explosion of different styles and different ideas that have shown up. I mean, come on, look at the banner. This stuff can't really be categorized in anything that you've seen before, at least for the most part.
Because it's disgusting.
Wow. I wasn't talking about the banner itself. I was talking about the art pieces in the banner. How dare you?
Oh, you mean the art? I was gonna say the banner itself, if we want to, could come into something of like a pop art kind of thing. But no, with that stuff yourself, you're talking about with like Abe's art and all these other kind of things. Yeah, I don't. I'm not too well versed in art and art history, so there may be categories for this to enter, but I personally don't know.
Well, you see a lot more new categories that are existing in the same time.
I think a big reason why is because back then, resources to get art or to get art supplies were, expensive. Like, want to know an actual thing? For the longest time, artists couldn't draw on the.
Couldn't draw what?
They couldn't make art with the color purple in it.
Yeah, because
it was like very expensive.
Yeah, it's very expensive.
Because purple was it was the most expensive material in the world.
Because it was made out of like snail guts or some shit.
It was made out of and then it wasn't until the 1850s that we finally discovered how to make synthetic purple.
And now we don't even need that. We can just, go into the color wheel, go to purple.
Go into the color wheel, purple. I mean, that's exactly what I was going on about how it's just over time. The reason why we see more explosion of art is because it's become far more accessible to the public.
Yeah, it's a lot more accessible. Like anybody could feasibly go out, get like a piece of paper, a pencil, and start practicing.
Back in the day, being known as a cartoonist, an animator, or an artist was considered high class.
Like, damn, dude.
Because
how you do that?
Yeah, because because if you're a guy working 12 hours a day, dying on a fucking factory floor, you're not really gonna think about time to draw painting.
Time to draw my unnamed OC that I will never name. Cough, cough.
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
Shut up!
Love you, Oliver. Love you.
I mean, it also depends on the region that you're in, because at what time period would you be considering this for that you're referring to right now?
Overall, just like it was mostly in the hands of middle class to higher class people, because you know,
They
the
had
poor
time.
farmer. Do you think this swine herder is honestly going to think, yeah, it's time to draw a big painting, or do you think he's going to care more about the health of his pigs?
No, but specifically you're referring to it with regards of it as being high class, and if we're going to talk about that, I would need a time frame, because then if we're talking about certain areas, like not even necessarily modernly, but if we're talking about in the earlier 19 maybe 40s
I would-
40s 30s China, although animators and animation existed, it was considered low class. It was, if you worked on it, it was a bad thing.
I mean, it does depend. I was talking more Europe than anything,
Yeah.
because Europe, the being classified. I mean, Asia's different. East Asia is different because I remember in some places like Japan, not Japan, but yeah, China.
Japan's going to be an interesting topic for this.
Oh, the anime. Oh boy, I know the history behind.
No, I mean, if we're going to get on the topic of anime and manga, I got someone in mind.
Yeah, I know.
So
We'll
do
get
I.
to it when we get to it.
Yeah. When we get to it. So go ahead and finish.
But basically, in a lot of European countries, being seen as oh look, we're gonna have to commission him if he's really good. One of them, like for example, Poland, the nation of Poland. For a huge part of its history, it had what many people called an artist culture, where being seen as an artist was considered of like a noble requirement almost. In the court, if you were in the court of the Polish king, you would most likely draw in your free time. And
Mm.
Poland was a very wealthy and powerful country in the medieval era, and the Commonwealth would later dominate Eastern European politics. So it's very easy to see why Poland still,
Why the idea spread around.
well, not the idea, just why artist culture became so dominant. Italy is
Yeah,
another
that's what
good
I mean.
example.
That's what I mean.
Italy's another good example where the Catholic Church literally commissioned and found artists to draw for them in Italy.
I mean, why do you think that there's so many artists from that day and age that are still known in history?
I mean, you also have them, the Germans especially,
Yeah.
until the Protestants came over. England, France, like they all had, they all saw art as sort of a treasure, something to behold.
I mean, Sistine Chapel, that's an easy example, I guess you could say. Like a very
I
easy
was
one that you
saying
can point
more
out.
like portraits of the king, for example.
Yeah, portraits. Like I was saying earlier, the main goal was to try and make humans look good.
Yeah.
Sort of a revolution of that time. Although, a lot of, at least in modern times, you've seen like a lot of different styles and a lot of different ideas come forth from all of it, instead of it just all coming from that.
I mean,
Although
yeah, I think that
obviously, there's still like a disconnect between certain countries, like American, Japan.
I
I'd
mean,
also like to quickly correct myself. I don't know why I said 20s. I was thinking 40s, 50s, and I don't know why I said 20s.
I mean, honestly, it's basically the same time.
shut up! No, you're gonna get me mad when you say that. Mad.
You're always mad,
I always said mad.
so I'm just making you your normal mood.
Mm.
Although,
Mad is not my default. My default is
Your default is dumb.
yes.
on the topic of like different countries, at least nowadays, standing out in terms of like art.
We have to
Uh,
talk about it.
well,
It's gonna stick with like a sore thumb.
well, either Japan or American animation.
I mean, I was gonna say more
Like
Japan than anything.
Japan is much easy, funner topic for us anyway. For us,
Yeah, we're not gonna get into an argument over it.
yeah, we're not gonna debate over why Steven Universe is a piece
It's
of
just
garbage,
trash. We're not gonna debate over it.
why the soft, rounded art style of most American cartoons is something that I dislike.
I'll talk to you about that in a later time period, Kai. We're gonna devote an entire episode to shitting on that. Believe me.
Do you guys have like a a Japanese or an anime or manga artist that you have in mind though?
Ooh,
Oh yeah.
Araki.
I was going to say Tsutomu Nihei.
What did he do? If you don't mind me asking.
Tsutomu Nihei, he has done Biomega, Knights of Sidonia, Blame, or actually, as it's supposed to be pronounced, Blam. Any of those names you recognize?
No, but after looking it up, I think I've seen this guy's artwork at least once before.
He may have also seen he did a as part of a like some kind of a Megabus collection or some shit for Marvel. They had a whole or not is who owns Wolverine? Is that Marvel?
Yeah, it's Marvel.
Marvel.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
He did a short comic for Marvel called Snicked.
Snicked?
Yeah, snicked, because that's the noise whenever his claws come out, that's always the sound effect they use. It's snicked. I'm not joking. Guys, look it up in the older in the comics. Whenever he fucking has his claws come out, they use that as the sound effect.
No, I'm not saying that they don't. It's just I think that's kind of funny.
Well, I mean, a lot of his works are very shortly titled. In fact, besides maybe Knights of Sidonia, everything else is a one-word title. Noise, Apsmez, Biomega is one word. Blam is one word.
Hang on. Keep going.
Is it now?
oh,
Cool.
Oliver, you were gonna say something about your
Uh,
favorite artist?
When it comes to manga artists, I'd say you're probably familiar with this Yuriko Araki, of course, author of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
He's a good one.
Yeah, yeah. His style is very distinct in the way he draws things.
He did
And
say
like
this is back to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Every time.
I would do
every,
anything in my power. I would do anything in my power to bring it up.
every time we're going to stream with you, you're going to mention JoJo at least once. But hey, at least this one's on topic.
Yeah, it is. But
I mean, last time I mentioned it, it was on fucking the anime
Anime.
one.
Yeah. True. True.
Which is on
Fuck.
also on
So,
topic.
anyways, like apparently the story behind the way Araki draws people is the fact that apparently when he was trying to draw his manga, he doesn't really know how he wants to draw people, and apparently he went to Italy for inspiration. Look at like I don't know, like Renaissance shit, and he got inspired by that to make like I don't know, almost like sculpture-looking esque people.
So you're
Like
saying that he
it,
has been to Italy, yet he yet he drew part 5 like that.
yeah. No,
What do you mean like
it was
that?
before JoJo apparently. Like way back in like part one.
Question, what do you mean by like that?
So you're telling me in the span of before JoJo to part 5 that he immediately thought that all Italians became very thin, feminine,
No.
Well,
That's not how he did it.
yeah,
conveniently
no,
gangsters?
he himself has said that the only reason he drew the really muscly bound guys was because that was the popular style at the time.
Yeah.
You
Overall, he
get what
just
I
kind
was
of
trying to
refined it
say.
even more.
Now the question is, does he currently draw because that's what he wants to, or is that also because it is the more of the popular trend now?
Or is it the
I mean,
is it the popular trend because of him?
I don't know. I don't have the
Exactly.
information. Can you guys hear that? That's my roommate practicing his
I can't.
trumpet.
I can't.
No, I can't.
Okay, well
Sometimes.
I can hear it, so I'm going to close my door so I don't have to hear it. It's good, but it's hard to concentrate.
Yeah.
Dude.
dude. But anyway, so as I was saying,
Okay. Go ahead.
but I was Araki he's interesting because compare him to like most other mangaka artists, he draws in like a very it's very like, unique. Like you can look at that and say that's JoJo, or
Yeah.
that's Araki.
JoJo.
It's a very
God
distinct style.
damn it! But I was going to say one of my favorite of all of them Now I know Kai's gonna get off on this. Berserk's mangaka artist.
That was who I was going to bring up, Kentaro Miura. And funnily enough, he has the same thing as Araki, where you know it's his artwork, but it's because of something very peculiar that I've noticed and that someone else has talked about. I can't remember their name, but they did a whole video on it. And I think it's why Berserk hasn't had a good adaptation. I think that was the video title or something like that. But he talked about how Kentaro almost perfectly uses the colors black and white. Because,
Yeah.
it
So,
seems to be that he knows that that's all he has to work with. So he does everything possible to try and bring both of those things out perfectly. And it just results in this unique style and feel. Like it perfectly matches the tone.
You can like almost see the color, but it's just black and white.
Well, it's almost like you don't need the color. Like it could perfectly exist in this black and white state. And there's so many
Yeah.
stills from the manga that you can just grab and be like, "Hey, look at this," and you're just going to immediately be like, "What the fuck?"
I guess one of the things I would say for Berserk, like for me to show like sort of his control over it would be when Guts is first donning the. Actually, how far are you?
I've
They're
already
both. Yeah,
he's gone through the Berserk armor. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. When he first dons the Berserker armor, and it sort of takes over, I guess.
yeah, where you see the wolf head take over.
Yeah, and as well how he uses then even like the reverse of that, like when he goes into the mindscape to highlight essentially the strange berserker creature spirit, where he then has it's sort of inverted, where the sometimes he'll invert it where it's, instead of it being black where there should be black, it's white, so you get a kind of a reverse of that.
Funnily enough, he does the same thing, but with almost all the time, but with Guts and Griffith. Like you can see that dichotomy between each of their own perspective scenes whenever you see like just a piece where it's just Griffith or whatever he's doing, you can see this like bright, almost majestic feeling. While when you go back to Guts' story, it all looks black, it looks dark, it looks rough, rugged. It's like a perfect inverse of the two.
I mean, another thing to point out about both Guts and Griffith is that you can even see it like the tiniest details. For example, Griffith always leads from the front. He's charging ahead of all of his allies. He's as if he's himself the centerpiece of the battle, while Guts is always in the back while his allies, lead the way.
Yeah, it's just small details like that.
And not only that, but you read more about it, it's like you see that the two are almost polar opposites in the way. It's just beautiful how the art, what's his name again?
Kentaro Miura.
Kentaro Miura. He just beautifully. It's just beautifully masterminds how he makes the artwork for it, and how it's just a contrast of two people. Like even in the way they look, like Griffith is very sleek, very elegant, very.
Woman.
His body is.
Woman.
Woman.
Well, you know him, right?
Well, I wouldn't say woman. I'd say feminine. Like, and this almost ethereal beauty to it, right?
And then
Meanwhile,
there's
you
Guts.
see Guts, who's big.
Angry.
He's
That's it.
short hair, masculine,
Has scars on his face. Has a missing eye. Bad hair.
an arm,
Looks stinky.
missing an arm. He doesn't look too stinky.
He looks like he hasn't had a good shower in a while.
That is true.
Probably hasn't.
I mean, he really hasn't. He can't have a shower.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not saying much. That's not saying much, man.
I mean, it's also like. I mean, he also put it in as like what he viewed as the ideal people into his own, in the comic. Not a comic book, manga. My bad. You have Casca, the character of Casca, right? I remember reading of this. She's specifically designed with what Mira thought was the ideal woman.
This is what the ideal woman looks like. You may not
Yeah,
like it, but this is what it is.
That's what he thought. She should be strong. She should be tanned. She should be,
A tomboy.
get going. Basically, yeah, that's what he thought the ideal, woman was.
Mira is a chat.
Mira has
So essentially a
Which-
waifu.
Which way, Western man?
Which way, Western man? Tomboy GF or white woman?
I'm sorry.
That was funny. Come on. Anime.
I could go on and on about Berserk.
I like the
honestly.
type of people who fucking like have the ideal woman in mind. Is like, I must make this into an actual character. If I'm not gonna do it, might as well. If no one's gonna do it, might as well do it myself.
That's actually also one of the main reasons, why kill her off.
Oh God. Honestly, yeah. I just I like seeing different because you can look at Miura or Kentaro and you can look at Araki and you both know that that they have that manga or anime feel to them, but at the same time they're distinct enough and they're very much their own thing. Not to say that the basic anime style is bad. Hell no, I like it. There's a huge reason why I like it.
I mean, I'm gonna say what my opinion, the more popular anime style, my honest opinion on it,
The moe.
the moe style, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
I really enjoy it for how simplistic it is.
Yeah.
It's just you can look at that and say, I am not physically repulsed by what I'm looking at. I can look at this and say, that's cute.
I mean, yeah, that's why it's called moe. Well, I don't think moe means cute, but I think it means something similar. But, that's somewhat the point of it. You look at it and you think, oh, that's cute.
I mean, like, there's actually, I remember reading about it. It's that a lot of the reason why they look like that, right? The big eyes, the big cheeks, the small mouth and nose. It's supposed to remind you of pleasant things, right? Like a child.
Yeah.
Like a well-behaved child.
Although
I know Oliver.
Children.
No.
Well, no, because you said child, that just made me think of like some other things in Japanese art that kind of scared me. So, yikes.
Maybe that is like innocent is the correct word actually.
Yeah, innocence.
Yeah, like childlike innocence to a lot of them. Like I don't know, which is why a lot of people find them cute and adorable. Which is the whole point.
Which, ironically, is something that I feel like most American cartoons don't exactly get right now, at least to me. Because, Steven Universe, I'm sorry, I'm saying that again, Steven Universe, Star versus the Forces of Evil, a lot of those ones all feel the same.
I mean, you can say the same thing about anime, honestly.
Well, yeah, but it's just like, it looks bland is the thing. That's what I mean. It looks bland.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I have a hesitation for that is that a lot of people then... I have had people try to, like, that image of, like, oh, it's the cow art style where they'll just draw the orb mouth. Like, I've seen people try to use that to justify how other shows are bland. Like, fucking,
Gravy fails.
Gumball.
Gumball is like
Gumball
not
is
bland.
very unique, though.
I know,
his
but
shit.
that's the thing, though. I will see people who will draw that and be like, "Look, there's Star Wars for you. We'll just slap that on." There's that, and then it's like Gumball, and it's like, oh right, yeah. Let's just ignore the fact that Gumball like each fucking nearly every character has a different animation style. Sure, well, let's just pretend that's not happening.
I mean, what I like about Gumball is it's very unique.
Another was Adventure Time, and Adventure Time does not look that way.
No, it
So
has its own thing, I think.
Like,
So
as well as regular show, as well as that one. More to simp.
So it's just the one thing I hesitate for these kind of topics is just so many people out there will just do their best to shit on something for no reason other than they feel really smart when they do it.
Yeah, I understand that.
Right
I
at the
understand
moment.
that.
I was making, I think that doesn't look the look of it because it doesn't look good to Kai, and that
Yeah, it just
fair.
doesn't stand out to me. It just doesn't stand out to me. It doesn't really do anything to me. It just looks safe.
That's fair.
Well,
Understandable.
Gendy Gendy Get Tartovsky. Did I say it right?
Yes.
I think.
Okay, like Samurai Jack and Primal. Those look like him, and those, while simple, stand out, and they're very striking to me.
They're good.
Like they can grab me. They're not just simple, soft, or bland, as I was using to describe that one.
I mean, I'm gonna say this about my opinion on Gumball since you brought it up.
Great show.
Sure.
You like it?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah,
I mean,
10 out of 10.
it's good. I mean, my opinion on it is that they just kind of sort of used a lot of different art styles to convey a lot of different characters, and that works for them. Because,
Every art style conveys a personality in some way.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's just an actual thing someone told me, and they think that to its greatest effect.
I could not understand a word you just said.
My bad.
No, don't do that. That thing where you always do where you get really close to your mic. It was just you cutting out from probably internet. I don't know.
Alrighty then.
Could you just
But,
repeat what did they say about Gumball?
one person told me that what they liked about it used a lot of different. What?
Yeah.
Yeah, it used a lot of different styles to convey, the same thing.
Right.
Not the same thing, but different emotions and characters. Like you couldn't tell a character's personality just by looking at what style they're like. And I like that. Like you can tell, like the main cast is supposed to be cheery. The main character is supposed to be this happy, naive kid. While, for example, like the banana is supposed to be just utter goober,
Fucking dumbass.
dumbass goober.
A fucking dumb piece of shit. Gumball, but he swears.
Gumball, but he swears. I'd watch that.
I mean, that's already a thing.
Wait, really?
Then there's American cartoons on the topic of swearing. Well,
Oh,
we've already been talking about American cartoons. I mean, like American adult cartoons.
Family
With
Guy.
Seth MacFarlane death pose.
Just the hand over your back and your legs crossed or whatever.
Every time. It's the same fucking thing every time.
It is. No matter what happens to you, you will end up in that pose. I don't know why they do that. Is it just because it's really easy for them to constantly, like, they can just rely back on something?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
Is
it is.
I mean, there's so many things that they rely back on in that show, though, is the thing. Like, at least for his stuff. Because I know there's different types. But I don't really want to call them special. Bob's Burgers is okay.
I love Bob's Burgers animation style.
I like Bob's Burgers because it's funny.
It's a good show too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Never seen.
But then you got like The Simpsons, Family Guy, American Dad,
Simpsons is different.
Spectrum. Yeah, but it still has the feeling, if you know what I'm saying.
Spectrum.
Was Spectrum like a bad word to use? What else?
No. I don't know what Spectrum is.
I mean, like, they all look related.
Oh,
But they're
you
not.
mean the literal use of the word spectrum? They're on
Yeah.
a spectrum.
Yeah.
I thought because what I heard was Simpsons, Family Guy, American Dad, Spectrum, and so I thought Spectrum was like another show.
Oh, no. It sounds like a show. I'm gonna go to Fox TV and pitch a show called Spectrum.
What's the show called? Spectrum. What's it about? I don't know. It's just called Spectrum.
Oh no, I'll figure it out. We'll figure it out
Make
on
it-
the fly every episode.
Make it more insane than Xavier Renegade.
Speaking of
That's-
Xavier Renegade Angel, talk about using 3D animation, an art style that, should open up to a lot of creativity, and that show definitely gets creative, to say the least. But you expect,
Yeah, to say the least.
you expect
especially when
like
it's turned
you expect
fresh.
like revolutionary stuff when it comes to 3D, right? Or at least quote unquote revolutionary, at least for the time. But Xavier says no,
They
we're
don't
gonna
care.
we're gonna do something else. You'll
We're
see.
We're gonna make
We're-
an acid trip every episode.
Straight up, they definitely make use of the sort of the facet of 3D animation where they'll just have like a ton of like visual effects or like transitions or like model swaps for areas that just like that just are so much more difficult to pull off in 2D animation where you can't just swap out, a different model for something. Or is this, like for an example, things start glitching out after, I don't know, the computers what was it in that first episode? Was it the computers get infected with AIDS?
Yeah, okay, so a computer with a computer virus gets thrown into a lake, and then people drink the lake water,
The
which
water,
gives them a
which gives
computer
them
virus.
the computer virus. Yeah, and just you get all that like crazy like glitching out and like their models becoming less and less polygonal,
And then,
fewer and fewer polygons, which already that show was in desperate need of more polygons.
I mean, honestly, it did something very special that most 3D animations somewhat don't. At least, when I say somewhat, I mean that when you do a 3D animation or you do something in the style of 3D, there's always the risk that it's going to look outdated given a couple years. Like I noticed that with like the MTV Spider-Man show. It looks slightly outdated.
I need to watch that show. Did it? Hold up. I did watch it, but like, okay. So who else here watched the show?
I watched a couple
I don't think I
episodes.
did.
Okay, so in the last episode that I saw, Peter throws his suit away.
Mm-hmm.
Is that where the show ends? Because was that like the last bit of that season? But then like there never was another season.
I can't remember.
There was only one season. Yeah.
Dude, that's terrible. That's the ending.
Let me check.
We have to go off of that being the ending, though, if that's the case.
Damn, that fucking sucks.
Yeah,
ass,
it is.
for real.
It is. Yeah. That is the last, because there wasn't another season. That was in fact the last episode of that Spider-Man season, of that Spider-Man series,
So canonically, he just stops being Spider-Man.
because of a thing.
Ha.
I mean, I don't want to say what it is in case of spoilers, but then again, the show came out fucking 17 years ago.
If you're going to complain about spoilers for a 17-year-old show, then just stop.
So he gets so there's these twins, right? That then that they do like brain shit to him that make him all like fucked up and shit. And so they trick him into believing that MJ was murdered by Kraven the Hunter. But then they use their telepathy to trick Spider-Man to do other stuff. But then what ends up leading into is another character called Indy, who was this like sort of like that sort of more like new age kind of reporter type character. Just for the name, and plus it was MTV, so she's supposed to be that sort of like hip or whatever sort of thing, right? And this ends up with Indy, I think, getting accidentally knocked off of a building, which leads her to be severely injured and hospitalized. And this causes Peter to give up being Spider-Man, and he fills a suitcase with rocks and throws it to the bottom of the harbor, quitting his career as a crime fighter. And then because there was never another season, that's where the show ends.
Fucking hell, dude.
Bruh.
Damn.
I kinda
Also, this
like
was the
that.
show where fucking Neil Patrick Harris was Spider-Man.
Bro.
Bro.
Again,
But
I kind of like that.
I was gonna say one thing.
Go ahead.
I think,
It's
speaking
a-
on the topic of superheroes, I think one of my
I didn't watch the show again. I think it was a good show. I need to double check, but I think Spider-Man the Animated Series from MTV was good.
Well,
Huh.
especially if that was the ending.
It's
yeah.
weird because I've never heard of it.
Oh, I need to watch. We need to sit down and watch
I,
it together.
I mean, seeing as how it never got another season, I think most people never heard of it. I watched it a lot as a kid, though. Like, I think my parents didn't realize what it was, so when they bought, like, the DVD collection, they were just like, it's Spider-Man, and so I was like 12 or 13 watching a show about how Spider-Man was kind of a dickhead sometimes. Like, relationship issues. I think cheating was involved at one point.
He's a spider cuck.
I don't think he was the cuck. I think he was the cucker.
Spider Dick.
Yeah.
Spider-Man steals your girl.
What do you do?
Make
That
him
just-
quit
that just
his
reminds me-
job.
That just reminds me of this meme image where it's like fucking Spider-Man saves MJ, and then she's just like, "Oh, Spider-Man, take me now," and she's like, "What about?" It's like, and he's like, "Don't you have a boyfriend?" He's like, "Oh, he'll never find out," and then he's like, "Bitch, you thought?" It's like, that's what you thought, huh? What were you gonna say though before that? Yeah.
Comic book artist, I think, right?
I know. I was gonna segue to one of Kai's favorite artists. So I think one man who does not just superheroes, just a lot of shit in general. Like I find really interesting is I'll give you a hint. He has 3 letters in his name.
Is one
Tim.
is one of them an A?
Yes.
Is one
I
of
don't
them-
know who the fuck
Is
you're
one of them a
about.
B?
Yes.
Is one of them an E?
Yeah, it's Abe.
Abe.
Are we talking about comic book
Of
artists?
course.
Does Abe do comic books?
He
does comic
wants
book
to. He wants to.
time.
Interesting.
Because he
wants to.
has. If you don't mind me steering the topic, I love this man so much. As you can see,
No,
he's on
go
the banner, twitter.com/carapace777. Please follow this man and fucking give him a goddamn hug. He's fucking amazing. But
I want Kai to nerd over it.
one of the things
Back
that
to
he
subject
really
artists.
appreciates is the Alien franchise. He really loves the Alien franchise, and he was asked one day, "Hey, what would you do if you made an Alien comic?" And he gave, for once, well, not saying that he doesn't give unique takes, but like, he gave something that you don't see usually with, like, obviously, the comics when it comes to Alien and Predator have always opened up, like, unique, concepts, like the Predator, but it's in the Western times, or, colonial pirate period, or Alien, but one of the androids is in the shape of one of the aliens, so that opens up stuff. And he, in particular, he took the idea of Prometheus, which was, the engineers using this black goo to do stuff with and all that, and this is supposed to be the origin of the entire species. He took that and he said, okay, I think I would make the engineers basically cultists, and I would make the aliens implied to be like demons from like a different dimension, which that just shows like his creative mind, at least in some way, that he took that basic idea and he said, okay, this is how I would roll with it. And especially compared to how the actual films are rolling with it, I think I would much prefer his option.
I would prefer his option. That isn't to say I like that option, but it also depends on how things are done,
Yeah, it depends on how things are done. And I also really like his artwork because he takes like concepts that H.R. Giger did. For example, this one concept for the alien monster. He took that and he made it into its own thing that still fits in the universe. Like, I can't remember the specific piece, but it was like this different head structure that had like tendrils on the face. He took that and he made it into another. He made it realized in some way. And he does the same thing, but with like medieval or Mayan or like just different statues from different cultures. He does that, and then he makes it into his own AU in his own comics and all of that. Like recently, he took a Mayan god, and he took like basic statues to represent their face, and he made it into this cool looking humanoid that can turn into a jaguar. Holy shit! Like, come on. Mm,
Interesting.
he's great. He's great. I have nothing but praise.
I wanna say something about him,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
about Carapace 777.
Or Abe.
Also, Abe. I love his shitpost drawings. They're funny.
Yeah, and he does shitposts. Yeah, you know what? Shitpost art, that's still art. High art.
Shitpost art is high quality art. What are you talking about?
Yeah, Oliver, especially you got your pinned in a massive, which is just yes, it is I, the one who know.
If there's one thing I say that I'll get done as soon as I fucking start it, it's shitpost drawings.
Is it still pinned there? It is still
What?
pinned. It's still fucking pinned.
What's so pinned?
This
It is
drawing.
I'm the one who will know. Fuck's sake, yeah. That's like pinned in 3 different servers, and I did in like 5 minutes. So dumb.
I mean, funny art is still funny. So, hey, yeah.
What's your favorite of all your shitpost art you've made?
Ooh, that's kind of hard to. Let me hold on. Let me take a look at my memes folder.
Kai,
Me or
for
Oliver?
you, what is it?
Shit,
What?
now I gotta think.
Hold on.
Because, like, my shit posting is obviously different because I'm not as good as Oliver.
Hold on. I don't think I have like a specific favorite, but here are some, I'd say.
I think.
These dumb ones.
Oh, yeah, I remember the one where I drew my OC, but it was the American Dad opening.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I remember
that was
that.
probably one of my favorites, if I'm being honest.
I was actually gonna do that, but like at the time I wasn't like digital, so I can't really like I don't know trace over the pose for the meme. So like, and I feel like that type of pose, like that was back at a time where I wasn't so like super good in like anatomy wise. Still, I wouldn't say like I'm super good now, but like I have at least like a decent knowledge of it to like actually do it.
You have more practice in.
My favorite still has to be the one where our cycle gets ran over by another one of Kai's OCs. That's a fun
Yeah, yeah. It's very interesting.
Yeah, a lot of people like that one. They're like, oh wait, fuck! I completely forgot about this one. This one also has to be one of my favorites. Excuse my slow internet; it's very bad.
Oh, it's alright.
I mean, remember the
This.
oh yeah, that's also one of Kai's favorites.
Yeah,
Can you bring some of them onto the banner?
I was
I think
about to
this
put
was
that.
one of.
I was about to put that one onto the banner, if I'm being honest.
I think this was one of my first like actual like shit post drawings I did.
It was amazing. Let me tell you, it was amazing.
I'm glad you like this atrocity.
It's not an atrocity. It is art.
Atrocity art, you know.
I
Two
mean,
sides
It
of the
could be
coin,
both.
I
It could be
say.
both. Yeah.
You know what they say? One man's war crime is another man's.
It's another man's what?
night out.
Night out,
It's
yeah.
another man's night out.
Oh my god, this image
there's
is
a
so big
simp
on the
drawing
banner.
I did.
It's so big on the banner. It's covered up
It
most of the
is.
banner.
It's too powerful.
I was trying to think of something like the, one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter thing, but there isn't really like a freedom fighter equivalent word for a war crime now, is it?
One man's war
One
crime
man's
is another man.
one man's war crime is another man's hobby.
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ.
There is no meme. We're about to die.
There's no meme. This is
that
just
reminds
a
me of
threat.
this one.
There is no
That
meme. This is a
reminds me
war
of
crime.
this one.
Vibe check.
Dude, imagine being transported to 1940s Poland, and then a fucking German officer walks up to you and it says and says vibe check. I could not say that for the life of me.
Vibe checking.
Vibe check.
Oh,
Can you
God.
Can you imagine just? This is off topic, but can you imagine just vibe checks being like an actual like thing? Like somebody's like you get like stopped at like the border, right? And they're just like, your passport has gone through, everything is fine, and then they just look at you and they go, but we must check your vibes. Then if you're nervous, you're like, why are you nervous? Are you not currently vibing with us? You're just like, yes,
Oh my
I am vibing.
Dude, imagine if, okay, somewhat on topic. Imagine if vibe check drawings actually were real.
If they were real.
What by vibe check drawing
What,
being real?
the
You mean like if
drawing
I
comes
looked
out
at
of
the
the
image of
tree
a
and
vibe
pulls
check
you
and I
in?
actually had my face ripped off by some fucking emoji with a hand?
Yes.
No, imagine that. Imagine fucking Sutra's hand bursts out of your screen and just tears your face off.
Vibe check.
Ugh. Vibe check.
But what if you're vibing? What would he do then? Will you pat?
That's how I plan on.
He will give you a head pat.
If I
It's either a-
ever get the chance to assassinate like a not popular, but a famous figure. Like it doesn't have to be like a political figure or anything. Just anyone, assassinate anyone that will get me like on the front of a like guaranteed front page newspaper sort of deal. I want it that everyone hears. Yes.
Should I call the
Here's
FBI?
No, they're already on their way.
They're already on their way.
I just want it that they just hear like all you hear is like vibe check and then like me hitting them over the head with a bat or something. Then when I'm in court and it's just like, listen, we all know I did it, so I'll just say this: they failed the vibe check.
Vibe check.
Vibe check.
Jesus Christ, man.
Dude,
They
that would have
failed.
that would have taken out all of the impact of The Walking Dead. Not spoilers.
With this,
not
the scene
spoilers.
with the Negan sort of thing you're
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about.
Yeah, the Negan one where he
Yeah.
and he just turns around and he
Okay,
says,
so we're like, so let me get this straight. You're like, no spoilers, and then I'm like, when I'm hinting at the Negan scene, and it's like that's really vague, and who knows what that means. But you're like, oh yeah, that scene where he goes and does that thing, right? It's like fucking.
No.
Are we avoiding spoilers or are we not, buddy?
No. I just somewhat realized that the show's been out for a while.
And it's shit. So
Yeah, so like it's fine. Right?
The Walking Alive.
You would
The
have.
Walking Alive.
That's not art. Okay, on the topic of art, that isn't art.
who
saying-
knew the walking?
No,
Who
that
knew?
shit is art. Have you seen Bottom Gear, dude?
Yes, I
am
No,
going
I-
to
It is
link
not
Bottom
art. It
Gear.
is not art.
What are you talking about?
It's
Oh, there's a
beautiful.
video. Okay,
Please.
there's a
Bottom
group of
Gear is
videos.
beautiful.
Just send it to
Breaking Good-
whatever it is that you're talking about. Just send it to me.
Hold on, I'm gonna fucking.
Can you
there it
just
is.
honestly, let's just say here, who would have thought that The Walking Dead didn't refer to the zombies? It didn't refer to the characters in the show. It referred to the show itself because it is just a Walking Dead piece of shit that just refuses to die, even though it is entering its last
Walking
season.
corpse.
Finally.
Yeah, finally.
Look at this.
Only took what 12 years. Feels like
Breaking Good episode 1. You burned the
Breaking
RV
Good is
with
so
the
good.
wrong ingredient.
How long have we been going?
Fucking
I wanted 1 hour and 13 minutes. That sounds
Shut
good
up.
to me.
Yeah.
I've seen
Off
this.
here.
I've seen this. This is great.
It's beautiful. It's so good.
I think
It's
we've
one of my
steered
favorite
off
videos.
topic. I think we're off here.
Yeah,
We definitely steered off
Yeah,
topic.
let's just
But I
drive
mean,
off.
it is
Let's just
art.
drive off the cliff.
Oh fuck!
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I need to go to the bathroom. Just please keep going.
Wait, we were about to end it off, Cross. No, don't go pee pee. He left.
On that
This
He
shit
went-
was
he
too
went-
funny. He pissed himself.
He left. He went to go pee pee.
Damn.
That's just how we're ending it off.
I took so long developing this topic, and you guys are just like, Breaking Good.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like a chimpanzee that just got like a handful of shit and threw it at my car.
Yeah, man. Turn the
Yo.
monk. Turn the monk.
Walking good.
It's like that one time when they did with the fucking typewriter or some shit.
Yeah.
I still can't get over that. That shit was so funny.
Has the stream ended?
No,
Or are we
it
still
hasn't.
going?
I was going to let you guys say everything off and sign yourselves off, all that, the classic shit. I'm just gonna have to wait till Cross gets back because he did that.
Very epic. Done a
We
video.
showed him
Actually, how about
breaking
this? How
good
about
and
this?
he
How about
messed up
this?
stuff.
That wasn't signed off.
Say some artists that you personally enjoy and would recommend that anybody check out.
Oliver does stuff.
Let me.
Yeah, Oliver does stuff. That guy's a Chad. I don't know who that guy is, but he's a Chad. Check out Oliver.
Thanks.
You know what? Actually, I did want
Go ahead, recommend one.
shitty artists.
Shitty
Don't
artist.
recommend a shitty artist. Please don't recommend a shitty artist. Please don't recommend a
I'm
shitty
not.
artist.
Well, I was gonna mention.
Oh yeah, we need.
Are you gonna mention?
I was gonna mention. You know who all.
Oh.
Fun fact for everybody
Tracing,
on the
man.
stream. Fun fact for everybody on the stream. Tracing is for cucks. Deadass.
This has been confirmed.
What I mean by tracing art is when you're like when you say this is my design, trace over when you just traced over someone else's original art.
Yeah, you look at somebody's original artwork, something that they took a lot of time and effort in, and you're just like, lol, no, and then you just trace over it. That is probably like one of the worst practices ever. And like, if you do that, if you do that consistently and call it your own thing, literally just shoot yourself in the head.
I mean, the only exception I have to that rule is for animators who need to get good at animating a body part, like a walking cycle.
Well, even then, it's usually their own stuff that they have to trace.
Yeah.
And like, if you're tracing your own stuff, then is it really an
Yeah,
issue?
it's your own shit. It's fine, really.
It's your own shit. No one cares.
Yeah, like, go ahead. It's fine. Okay. So, two recommendations that I will give. Poland Kaiju.
Poland Kaiju, yes.
I have his DeviantArt on the banner, so check him out. He is honest to God amazing, and he's a good friend of mine. Hopefully, when we're done with it, we're going to upload the comic HVS onto one of our DeviantArts. That's the plan anyway, I think. And obviously Abe. I've already mentioned him, and the man who made our banner, Oliver does stuff.
Hey.
Speaking of which, your turn.
My turn?
Yeah, go ahead. Give us an artist.
I was going to pull up Poland, but you already did. So like, trying to look through my Twitter to like think of any other like people that I'd like to like recommend. RJ Palmer is a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty good. He's pretty Gucci. Historical.
What the hell?
I deflated like a balloon, but I was actually going to say an artist I do like is goes brain dead for like half a
Grilled chicken.
I actually like a lot of the ones he did, but I was Tapwing.
Tapwing's pretty good. Tapwing's really good too.
Yeah.
Tapwing more like Chadwing.
But
while looking through my Twitter, I found some good videos. Hold on.
But
I relate to art, but still.
But Cross, quickly to finish it off. We have to finish it off before Oliver goes insane again.
Please, I just want Cross to get the fuck back here. How long?
Please watch the video. It's great.
How fat of a piss is he taking?
Guess he lost his shit that hard, huh?
I guess he's drawing with it. Yeah, I guess to be in topic, he's drawing with it. That must be it.
He's drawing with his own piss.
His own stream.
Unless he's actually in here this whole time. Seeing sound.
If he's been in here this whole time, I'm gonna be pissed. I'm gonna make sure that
Anyway.
the next topic is something that he hates.
Anyways, it's
You know, I'm gonna fucking pin this video. I love it so much.
God damn it.
Anyways, it's me. It's been me, Historic Man.
You can
And,
find him nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. You can find me
He's an enigma. He exists only within your mind.
Yeah,
He does not
exactly.
exist. You are just going insane.
Yeah, exactly.
Oliver?
My name is Oliver Does Stuff. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to see me not be dumb, just go to Instagram. If you want to see my actual art and be dumb, go to Twitter. That's about it.
And be dumb.
There's no in between.
There is no in between.
There is no in between. There's only dumb and art.
And if you guys are watching this on YouTube, you can always just hop onto my stream at twitch.tv/kaijudragon567. I always try and stream the podcast on the weekends, and sometimes I stream with the buddies. Sometimes, if I can get my internet to work.
We need to do that Minecraft.
I still want to play
stream.
Minecraft together.
I mean,
Yeah,
shit.
that's the plan.
Let me know when you get the server on historical. We can make it an event.
We can make it.
I'm gonna speed run. Watch me.
We
Actually,
can all stream.
We either multiple of us can stream, but that might fry like our internet and connection, or
Yeah, my
we can
internet will be absolute
we can
garbage.
finally get Palm to stream, which he never does.
Yeah, that's my plan. That's my plan.
Bomb! Finally! Fucking hell. He doesn't stream in a long while.
Palm has the fucking
Kinda miss it.
link. His
Oh,
link
I'm gonna
car.
stream. Don't worry, guys. I'm gonna stream. And then he
Yeah,
doesn't
he
stream.
has the fucking link car work ethic. It's out when it's out.
It's out when it's out, yeah.
But anyway, that's been us. And
Yeah. And,
Yeah, that has been us. You can find Cross in the bathroom.
yeah. And I
What?
guess
I'm back.
Oh, there he is. There he is. There he is.
There you go.
What's happening?
We've been.
We're ending the stream.
I said that I was gonna close down the stream, but then you left to go take a piss.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm back, so we can close down the stream now.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
this is
we already
Crosstar.
left our outro then, so like it's only you.
Go ahead.
Oh, you've all done the outro?
Well, we want you to.
It
We
just-
want you to say yours. Go ahead.
Oh, well, I mean, I guess then the only thing to say is that my name is Crossar, and this is one crazy party!
God damn it!
Oh my god. End it off. End it off.
Anyway, thanks for watching the podcast. We'll catch you next time. Pog.
Bye. Pog.
So.